Hello, this is D, and I'm back with another video. And today I want to discuss the state of Xbox exclusives and why they don't get universal acclaim and love from the media. Now, there is some type of stigma being an Xbox fan, and when you're Microsoft and you have so much net worth, a lot of people like to hate on you. So I would say that media does tend to be a little bit biased towards Xbox titles. I noticed that some titles they just score a little bit lower just simply because they're on Xbox. But I also have to be honest with you guys. Now, I am a real Xbox fan, and sometimes guys get really upset when I talk about the PlayStation or I talk about PC and other platforms. Now, I play on everything because first and foremost, I'm a gamer. So I enjoy games. So if I want to play the best games, I need to own all platforms. I need to be able to play games wherever they're available. Now, I know this is not viable for a lot of people. Some people have to choose whether they want a Switch or they want an Xbox or they want a PlayStation. And I truly believe to be really enjoying all of the games that are out there in the market, you should have as many platforms as possible. So honestly, I would recommend that gamers have an Xbox Series X and a PlayStation. Now, if you can afford a PC, of course, that is the best place to play, but not many people can afford a PC. And of course, there's a lot of other things and issues that come with PC. Now, today I posted on my Twitter and I said, I'm not gonna lie, as an Xbox fan, I would like our games to receive such a high praise also, and Xbox needs to focus on the quality of its games. Exclusives are supposed to stand out in the crowd, and Xbox games are good, but it's time for greatness. And I said congratulations to Nintendo and Sony fans on the latest release. Now, Super Mario Bros. Came out this morning to a 95 on the Metacritic. It's a must-play title. Now, since the reviews have come out, it's dropped down a little bit, so it's now at 93. Now, Spider-Man came out the other day at a 92 Metacritic. It's also settled down to a 90. These are both fantastic scores. Now, when we look at Forza Motorsport, the latest release, it is at an 85. I believe it came out at 87 and then it dropped down to about 85. Now, are these all good games? Of course they are. Do review scores matter? I don't think they matter all the way because there's some games out there that reviewed poorly. I'll give you an example, Days Gone. A lot of people didn't like Days Gone. I thought that game was fantastic. And there's a host of other games that have reviewed low and gamers have really went on to enjoy these games. So review scores at the end of the day, they don't mean everything. But I gotta be honest with you, when is the last time an Xbox game was just loved by the whole entire media, where the game was just so good, all the bias, it was just thrown out the window and everyone had universal praise for an Xbox game? Now, personally, the last game that I can really say blew my mind and I thought it was a fantastic game was the last Gears of War. I would say the last two Gears of War, they were excellent games. Forza Horizon 5, I thought was fantastic. And don't get me wrong, I love the new Forza Motorsport, but it's not a perfect game. On the console, there were some issues with the colors. It looked a little bit faded out. The blacks were lifted. Some of the HDR, some people were having some issues with it. I found the HDR to be quite good in the game. I had it dialed in, so that might kind of come down to your display. I thought the HDR was great overall. But the HDR, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, it was not giving us the higher fidelity colors. So it wasn't giving us HDR colors. It was not giving us Rec 20 colors or DCI P3 colors. So basic SDR colors, but the HDR implementation, the high dynamic range, it was excellent in the game. So I don't want to kind of go off on a tangent here and saying that the game is not good. The game is fantastic. My point is it wasn't a perfect release. There was some issues. Also, the foliage on the track. I don't think the foliage looks really good on the track. It's not what they advertised to us at launch. Now, when this game was coming out, like I believe a year ago, whenever they showed that trailer, we saw some foliage, we saw some details at the side of the track, we saw some ray tracing that looked fantastic. We were told that this is going to be on the Xbox Series X version. Now, of course, the Xbox Series X version does have ray tracing, but it doesn't look like the trailer that we were shown. The foliage is non-existent. It looks nowhere near what was shown in that trailer. And my point is the quality. You have to deliver on your promise. Now, one thing I can say about the competition is that their games are quality. The Spider-Man games come out, They look fantastic. I am excited to play Spider-Man later on this week. I think it's going to be a phenomenal game. It has ray tracing in every mode. Most people, when they talk about a Sony game, they don't say it's a poor quality game. Their games are of a high quality. They have a standard that they set in the industry, and everybody knows what to expect out of Naughty Dog games, out of Insomniac games, out of first-party Sony exclusives. Microsoft, it's a little bit of a different story. Of course, the Forza series are fantastic. Like I said, Gears of War is fantastic. Halo, which is your franchise, was not fantastic. It was a good game. I enjoyed the campaign, but the multiplayer was kind of meh. And just recently they released a patch for that game, an update, and now the multiplayer I'm hearing is playing a lot better. But how long after launch did we have to wait in order to get this feeling? We should have got this feeling day one. Now I understand sometimes games come out, there's going to be some issues. Fine, fix them in a week, a couple of weeks. This was almost a year. It's ridiculous. Now, I gotta also talk about Redfall. Now, a lot of people got on me for Redfall saying, why are you dissing this game? It's fantastic. I'm having so much fun playing this game. 30 FPS is not bad. And I said, if this game comes out without a 60 FPS option and they patch it down the road, nobody is going to care about this game. Release it right the first time out the gate. A lot of people laughed at me, said, no, when the patch comes out, people are going to come back to the game. People are going to continue to play the game. That game is dead. Even now, with a 60 FPS patch, the game is dead. And I told people from the start, I said, if this is not coming in at launch, don't expect a 60 FPS patch anytime soon. It's going to take months for them to implement it. Now, to be fair, I'm hearing that the patch is pretty good with the frame rate, that it's a locked 60 FPS, but it doesn't address some of the core issues of the game. And once again, the game came out to such a disastrous launch that the game is dead. So my point is that Microsoft, they really need to focus on the quality of their games. I'm not saying they cannot do it. They absolutely can. And I'm saying that they must do this going forward. If you want your Game Pass subscribers to increase, you have to make sure that there are quality titles going into your Game Pass service. The detractors out there like to say that Game Pass is a place where games go to die, that the quality of games that are in Game Pass is not good. And of course, that is absolutely false. There are top quality games inside the Game Pass service. But my point is that your first party games, they need to be a shining light. And when your first party games are not the cream of the crop, I gotta say, you have a quality issue. Now, in my personal opinion, that's all Microsoft really needs to do right now. They need to focus on releasing quality titles. Now, Phil Spencer said recently in an interview that he's not going to be pushing games on these developers. He wants developers to work on games that they're passionate about. Now, Microsoft has a huge opportunity here. With the ABK deal finally done, Microsoft can now bring these games into their Game Pass service. Now, they also announced that these games are not going to be coming till 2024, which gives them enough time to come up with a good plan in order to boost their Game Pass services by leveraging these new Activision games by adding them to the service. So I'm excited for the future of Xbox, and I think things are looking up. I just want to say that I'm tired of not having a game that all gamers are talking about. Every platform seems to have that title, and Microsoft seems to be suffering. Halo is supposed to be that title for us. And Halo, like I said earlier, it hasn't had the best showing in the last few years. Now, hopefully going forward, I know they're changing the engine, so I have a little bit of hope for the next Halo that they can recover from this disaster, I should say, from the last few years. Now, don't get me wrong, because I know some Xbox guys are in the comments freaking out saying, Halo wasn't bad, it was a great game. I'm not saying that Halo was a bad game. I enjoyed it. I cleared it. I'm saying it wasn't as good as it could have been. There was a lot of things promised to be in that game that didn't arrive till months, almost a year after that game launched. And you have to be honest about that. And if you want things to get better on the platform, how are you going to get that done if you're not honest about the issues that are at hand? Nobody is saying that Microsoft has no more games, because obviously that is false. Microsoft owns a lot of studios. They own a lot of IPs now. These games are going to be a reality on the Game Pass service. So looking forward in the future, I think it's bright for Xbox. But in the here and now, Microsoft needs to fix some of these issues with the impression that their games are not quality, especially when we're seeing Super Mario Brothers scoring so high, when we see Spider-Man scoring so high. Spider-Man, it's going to move consoles. So this does matter. Now, I know some Xbox guys are going to be upset with this video, and it is what it is. I'm just an honest gamer, and I got to tell you guys how it is. And as I scroll through the comments here, I see some of you guys get it, and some of you guys don't. I see one guy here saying, dude, come on. Are you really sitting here believing Starfield didn't deserve a 90 plus? Now, Starfield, in my honest opinion, as I said here, it's an 8.5, which is a great game. I'm not saying it's a bad game, but it's not a must play. A must play is like a 9 and above. Like the new DLC for Cyberpunk, I believe it's Phantom Liberty. That DLC is amazing. It is blowing my mind. The graphic fidelity, all of the fixes that they have for that game. Now, I'll be honest, that game's launch was a disaster, so we got to put that into account. But right now, the DLC is fantastic. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. The DLC took me away from Starfield. And then Spider-Man is coming out this weekend. And I said to catch up on the story, I'm going to replay Spider-Man 2 Miles Morales. And I just cleared that game yesterday. Also keeping Starfield on the back burner. Now, if Starfield was a great game, I wouldn't be able to leave it. That's the point. I don't think that Microsoft makes bad games, not by any stretch of the imagination. They make fantastic games. I just think they need to go the next level. They need to step it up. They need to be on the same level as Sony. And if you guys out there think they're on the same level as Sony, then you're lying to yourself, because not even Microsoft or Xbox believes that. They are not. They're doing a lot better than they used to do, and they have some stellar titles. But once again, they need to step it up a notch. And I want to see our games in the conversation of Game of the Year. When is the last time we had a game that was even being discussed for Game of the Year? If I have to be honest with you, it was probably Forza Horizon 5. And a lot of people said, nah, it's a racer, so it doesn't deserve to be Game of the Year. That was the last time. That was a couple of years ago. And before that, when was the last time that we had a game even in the running for Game of the Year? So my point is valid. Microsoft needs to step up the quality. They need to step up the releases. They need to choose good IPs to revisit. And Phil Spencer said that recently in an interview, that they're going to look at some of the old IPs that Activision has. And if the developer is passionate about it, then they can do it. It's not going to be forced on them. And also, gamers, you have to let your voices be heard. If you're not happy about certain things, you have to speak up and say something about it, or it will never change. You can't be in an echo chamber all the time saying that everything that Xbox does is great. It's not. And not everything that any company does is great. Every company has areas where they can improve. And in my honest opinion, when you ignore these problems, it's never going to get better on the platform. So to all the fans that I know are going to be writing stuff in the comment section saying, Starfield is great, it's a fantastic Bethesda game. Yes, it is. People are going to say, Forza, it's like the best racer. I do believe it's the best racer. Now, Forza 2023, there's areas that they can improve on it. I think they can improve the graphic fidelity, especially on PC. I think they can up the graphics much more higher. Also, they can add better ray tracing elements. There's other things they can do with that game. So I know in time that they are going to upgrade that game. I know that they're going to update it constantly, and I know it's going to get better. My point is, out the gate, I want these games to be polished. Yes, Hi-Fi Rush was incredible. I thought the art style was fantastic, and the game was really good. Was it greatness? It was not. It was just a good game. And my point is that I want Xbox games to be great. I want the exclusives to stand out. That's all that I want. And if that is a crime, then so be it. If you guys want to be upset with me, like I know a lot of you guys will be on this video, then it is what it is. But I want Xbox to do better. Anyways, I want to know what you guys think. Are you tired of Xbox games not getting a high review or universal acclaim? Do you think it's because of media bias, or do you think that Microsoft really needs to up their quality on their games? Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section down below. And like I usually say, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next one.